Hello, welcome to the Celtic Cast On podcast. My name is Kelly and I'm coming to you from the beautiful east coast of Canada, where today it is swelteringly hot. I just put out some towels on the line before I came into podcast and I couldn't even stand on the deck. The boards were so hot in my bare feet. So that tells you it's hot. So while we try to keep cool, it's kind of stifling in here too. So hopefully I'm not getting too red-faced. On a tangent, it's been a while. It has been 1 month since school stopped for the summer, and I thought I was going to podcast the very first week that school stopped, but it's been busy with being home with kids and having time by myself. It just doesn't happen. So we're nap time right now and T is at a party, so I'm taking advantage while I can and hopefully gonna get this out to you guys. So let's get stuck in. I have some wonderful FOs to show you, so let's start with the knitting. So you may remember I've been working on my box of socks knit along, my self-imposed knit along with my brown bags. Now, those of you who may be new, my daughter T chose 12 skeins from my stash and put them into brown paper bags without me knowing. And I've been choosing from that little crate of brown paper bags as soon as I finish a pair of socks, and I've been knitting from those. My goal is to knit 12 pairs this year, since last year I only did 4. So I did get another pair finished. These were the blueberry jam socks that I was working on, and I think I was almost ready to be finished them. I did complete them. These are actually quite long legged, and that's probably why it took me so long. These were knit on those little 12-inch circular needles that I do not really enjoy so much. I like the fact that I don't get ladders and don't have to move my stitches around. I do not like the fact that it slows me down quite a bit. I'm much faster on DPNs, so I was very thankful to have a break from these needles for a while and switch back to DPNs. The yarn is a Knit Pick Stroll that was over dyed by Mars from Dynamics Yarns, and I just put a little contrasting heel. I didn't have enough for toes as well, which I really wanted, but this was a little leftover from Dana in Germany that she sent to me. So those socks are finished, and I pulled out another skein, and actually the next bag had 2 skeins, and I told T that when she was putting them together, if she had small balls, then she could put 2 together and I could do colorwork socks, and that's what she did for this next pair. So the next pair is, believe it or not, the colorway, it's a Knit Picks Felici again. The colorway is Blueberry Jam. Surprise, surprise! So this is a self-striping sock yarn, and then I used Knit Pick Stroll in the Dove Heather colorway, which is my favorite gray that they make, for the contrast. The pattern for this sock is called the pinstripe socks. Sorry, I need to have more sock blockers so I don't have to do this, or podcast more often. So it's a pinstripe socks pattern, and it's a very, just a little bit more than a vanilla sock. It was fun to do, lots of slip stitches. Sorry, I'm picking little threads off because I've been doing some sewing. So this is my finished pair. I really like this pattern. I think I will knit another, probably more than 1 pair of socks in these. But it's really enjoyable and still kind of monotonous at the same time. You don't have to think too much about it. So those are my finished pair. I went into the box again and I chose out another skein of yarn. And this time it was at the beginning, almost the beginning of summer, and I wanted to try some shorty socks because I've never made any before. So I chose this pattern. I believe it's called the Go-To Shorty Socks. If not, I will put it below so you can see the actual name. This is another Knit Picks Felici, and it's one of their newer colorways. It is called Mosaic. And I just paired it with a white Knit Picks Felici, or white Knit Picks Stroll. And I finished another pair of socks. These are fun to make. I really like the Eye of Partridge heel on them. What I'm kind of one thing I do regret, I should have done a white cuff. That would have really set them off. But I think when I wanted to start them, the yarn for it, my yarn is in my closet upstairs, and the yarn was upstairs, the baby was sleeping, and so I just had this colorway downstairs and I just wanted to cast them on. So it is what it is. The only thing I'm concerned about is the cuff they're kind of stretchy and kind of a bit poofy. I'm wondering if maybe I should cast on less stitches next time. I'm noticing it's a 1x1 rib as well. Maybe I should have done 2x2. Also, I did a stretchy, when I cast on for all my socks, I cast on over 2 needles, and that gives it a little bit more stretch. So maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe it would have been less stretchy. They're still fine, but just things to note for next time. So those are my colorful mosaic socks. And then I pulled out another skein of yarn. I don't have these ones finished, so don't worry. Three pairs is enough in one go. But I did start this next one, and I was so excited when I pulled out the skein. T is always with me when I pull them out because she likes to see my face and my reaction. So this one I was really excited about. So I'm housing it in my Eldenwood Craft birdie bag. And the colorway is Juliana's Fiber, and it's the silver lining colorway. I've been hoarding this for a while because I didn't want to use it and I didn't know what to use it on. And when it came out of the bag, I kind of looked online to see if there were any cool projects with a pattern, made out of it with a pattern. But I just decided to go with simple vanilla sock because that's the mood I was in. Juliana's Fiber Lucid Dream sock yarn in silver lining colorway. I'm pretty sure Juliana's not dyeing anymore, which is sad because she was an amazing dyer. She was Canadian, she's in Ontario, and this is a lovely plump base. I really like it. So this is my first finished sock. Ta-da! And I got to the gusset of the second sock. This is kind of just, I've been taking this with me if I'm in the van somewhere and I just need to knit. But the gusset, once I get past the gusset, these are going to fly. I just need to sit down and do the gusset sometime. So I'm really enjoying those, really enjoying this base. So that's pairs 3, 4, 5, and this will be pair 6 for my 12 pairs of socks. So I'm doing quite well, carrying on with those. That's all the knitting I've been doing, and I'm pretty sure it's going to stick with socks for the rest of the summer unless I get on a complete tangent of something, which is entirely possible. I do get on those quite often. And what I'm about to show you for my next make is a complete tangent that was never meant to happen, but it is. Let's talk about some quilting. All right, you guys, are you ready? I have not been buying yarn. I have not been buying fabric. I haven't really been buying anything. And I just had a moment of weakness on Instagram and I ordered a quilt kit that I really wanted because there was a sew along happening on Instagram and I really wanted to join them. I ordered the kit from the States. Really got reamed with duty charges, so I probably won't be buying kits from the States again because it just costs way too much. But I did it for this one and I'm super happy with the kit. So let me show you. It's the Moda color kits. This is what the quilt will look like when it's done. I love the colors. It's actually a little pastel-y. Not my usual thing. Oh, actually, here's a really good picture of it. But I loved how it's all completely different blocks. And when put together, it's just beautiful. There was a sew along last summer for something like this too, and I really wanted to do it, but again, I didn't have the sewing skills, so I didn't. But this one I'm going to get to. So this is all the colorways that are inside as well. So it gives you everything that you need. It gives you your patterns, I can get into it. It gives you your little booklet with your patterns. It gives you a ruler that you need to use. It gives you your recipes, and then your fabrics are underneath. So everything you need. So once I got this and realized how beautiful it was, I realized that I didn't want to cut into it right away because I wanted to be more comfortable with sewing and my skills. So then I got down another rabbit hole of another sew along that was happening, and it started 2 days after I found out about it. So I was kind of completely on a whim when I decided to do this one. So this one is hosted by Gnome Angel on Instagram, and it is Tula Pink's City Sampler. Sorry, I really like to cross my legs when I sit, but this chair is not conducive to crossing your legs. It is the 100 Modern Quilt Blocks. This is the book. Now I didn't want to purchase the book because I know I probably won't use it again, so I borrowed it from the library. So I have how many weeks to get this finished? I can renew it, I think, twice, maybe 3 times, and that's it. So I need to get it finished before the book has to go back. But here's the idea. There are 100 quilt blocks in this book. For example, number 36. Here's the finished piece. This is how you piece it together. Each block in the book is like that, and then at the very end it gives you ideas for how you can put your quilt blocks together to make a quilt. So I saw a lot of these on Instagram, and they're all beautifully gradient colors, so from warm colors all the way down to cool, and they're kind of, the background is white, all the sashing is white. They're really beautiful. But I had a kind of idea that I wanted to use the fabric that I had, not for my kit, the fabric that I've collected that I haven't used before, and make a really cool scrappy quilt, and at the same time work on my quilting skills so that I will be able to start the quilt kit and not be so scared that I'm going to mess something up. So, like I said, 2 days before the thing started, I ordered the book from the library, and it came in. Now, Gnome Angel put this really cool tracker together that you can download, and it shows the number, the date. So we started on July 7th. That was the first block. So you can it shows you when you cut, have you sewn it, have you photographed it, have you posted it. And it just keeps track of all of your quilt blocks for you. So I've got 4 pages of those. And I've been cutting and sewing and trying to get a little bit ahead. I don't want to be doing this all summer because it goes into October. October 14th is the final day of posting the 100th block. I do not want to be sewing this in October. I do not want to be sewing this in September. I do not want to be sewing this past the middle of August. So I've been trying to cut up as many blocks as I can ahead of time. Now it's kind of different where I'm just choosing different fabrics from my stash and cutting them up that way. I'm putting them in little Ziploc bags with a number on it, and then whenever I get a chance to in the evenings, if I get a chance to sew that evening, I will come over to the sewing machine and I'll sew up 5 blocks, however many I can. So it's been working out well. I am a bit ahead of where we are in posting. Right now we're on block number 15, but I'd really like to get these done in the next couple of weeks. I don't know how doable that is, but we're gonna try to make it happen. So that's the fun that I've been working on. Let me show you some of the blocks that I've been doing. Where are you, blocks? So I'll just give you an idea. Now T has been helping me some in choosing fabrics because I find it takes me a long time to pick out the fabric and then to cut it out and bag it. And by the time I've done 4, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to be done for the day. So she's been helping put some fabrics together for me too, which is making it quite a bit easier. So here are some of the squares that I've already done. And again, just fabrics that I've had and haven't really used. I love this block. This yellow is very me. This fox one I've been hoarding for quite a while. This is extras from my Summer at the Beach quilt. I love this one too. Now T picks out kind of these pastel-y colors. I had to grab a couple of colors, fat quarters from the quilt shop just to add some different dimension because I have a lot of navies, a lot of blues, and Moose decides he needs to cut something right now. We are building an epic treehouse. I should say Moose is building an epic treehouse right now. And I'm gonna kind of show you how it progresses. And that's what he's doing at the minute. There's a chainsaw going and he's cutting wood or something. So it's not just going to be a little treehouse in a tree. It is going to be quite the treehouse, as everything Moose does is. So excuse the noise, and I will try to edit as much of the background noise out as I can. So like I said, T likes the pastel-y colors, so she chose the purple, and I've been kind of teaching her a little bit of what kind of colors go together and what doesn't. And she has also been kind of surprising me with different colorways that I wouldn't really put together that do go together. So it's been fun. It's been fun to do. And let me show you the one. This is the one. She picked out the colors for this one and I was kind of like, I don't really know about that, but I really love it. So those are, this one's fun too, some of the blocks that I've done. Oh wait, I need to show you my favorite, hang on. So if you're following me on Instagram, you'll know that I have to post one of these a day, so you may see lots of quilting. So you'll have to excuse me for that, but I don't know where my favorite went. Where did my favorite go? I don't know where it went. It was a really cute one with anchors on it though. I also follow someone online called So Luxe. She has a quilt shop. I'm not sure if it's just an online quilt shop. I think maybe it is. She does these crazy awesome pouch clubs where you get all the fabric you need and a pattern to make a little pouch every month. And if I was in the United States, I would totally sign up for this, but with shipping and everything to Canada, kind of expensive. I did find these two on D-Stash and I just love them. This is the first one, Love All Around. That's the little pouch. You get everything you need to make it, even the zip. And this one's the Stripey Stripes one, which is kind of cool. So I'm gonna try these out once I finish my quilt kit, or my quilt blocks, and get kind of more familiar with all the techniques that I need to know. All right, let me show you a couple of purchases. Actually, no, one was a purchase, one was a prize. My Needlecraft, I think I have her little tag in here. Yeah. My Needlecrafts, she is Cheryl and she's in St. Mary's, Ontario. She hand makes bags and different accessories, and she had a giveaway on her Instagram feed, and I actually won. So I got to choose a bag, any bag that I wanted from her store, or I guess any fabric, and she'd make me a bag. T and I both looked at all the fabrics, and we really like this one the best. Well, and this is the cactus fabric.
I sort of liked some other ones, but I just decided with her because it was too hard because I liked mostly everything. Yeah,
there was lots to choose from.
That's the problem with me. When I have to decide one decision between a bunch of other decisions, I like them all.
Yeah. Why don't you get your book that you're reading and we can talk about that
Oh, yes!
Okay, so this is the cactus bag. It's a really cool canvas material. And inside, let me take the stuff out. This is from my sock project that I had going. Inside is it's kind of split into two, and there's a little zippered pouch which is also in that fabric. And it's stuck on the inside, and then there are two little poppers on either side that you can snap over, so if you're doing two colors at the same time, or possibly two different sock projects in the bag, it's really, really well sewn. I really like it. And I'm very happy to have found Cheryl. So if you don't follow her on Instagram, go check her out. My Needle Crafts.
I want to see, I've never seen the inside of that bag before.
So you can put your stitch markers and things inside, and then you can pop these and your yarn goes through here while you're knitting. So it keeps it from rolling all around.
That is cool.
So she's on Ravelry, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, she's there. My Needle Crafts. Thank you so much, Cheryl. You know I love my bag. I've told you already how much I love it. But if you haven't checked her out, do go check her out. They're super cute, and I promise you will love them.
Now, let's talk about my book.
No, not yet. So I did make one purchase. I have been on the hunt for a sweater bag. I don't have a sweater bag that sits on a table by itself. I have a big wet
bag?
No, I have a big wet bag that I used to use for diapers and things, but it's just a flat bag that's sewn together. And I really wanted one with a square bottom that I could just set on the table and would house my entire sweater, and I wouldn't have to worry about where the extra balls are, because I've had that problem as of late. So there is one maker, there are several makers, but there is one maker I have had my eye on, and it is Christina from Birch Grove. She makes these beautiful bags, and I have been holding out. Every time she posts an update of what she's going to have in the shop, I'm like, oh, I like that one. Wait, do I like that one the most? Well, I like the next one even better. Should I just hold on to my money and see what the next one's going to be? And it just went on and on with that, and I just couldn't decide what I wanted. So finally I asked her, I asked her what was going to be in the next shop update and then what fabric she had. And I decided I wanted this one. Now, I had seen this one on her updates before, and I asked her if she would have any more of the fabric. It looks blue in her pictures, but it's actually a kind of a purpley background with flowers, and then this really nice, it looks like Essex linen or something on the bottom. Here's her little tag, Birch Grove. I'm sure you all know about her already. She has beautiful pictures, and I'll smell it after. And I have my sweater project that I started last time. How many balls? 1, 2, 3. So I have 5 balls of yarn in here, plus my sweater project, plus the pattern, and there's still lots of room in there.
Oh, wow.
So it is the perfect size for me for a sweater, and it just draws closed, and it has these really cute little beads on it, and it's gorgeous. So yeah, I told Christina if I had all the money in the world, I would just have all of her bags. Between her and Emma of Eldenwood Craft, and now Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl. There are too many nice bag makers out there, but I would just love to have an assortment of bags like this. They're really well made as well, and they're beautiful. So if you haven't checked out Christina, I don't think I have her card in here. Birch Grove. I will put it underneath and you can check it out. Oh wait, I do. Oh, and her tea's in here. I forgot about that.
Her tea?
Yeah, she sent me some tea. So that's Birch Grove, Christina. You can check her out on Instagram and catch up with what she is releasing. I know she had a really cute stag one recently. Check her out. She's got lots of beautiful stuff.
She loves tea.
I might have that tea later.
Oh,
Blueberry
my.
super.
Can we talk about my book?
Yes. Let's talk about some books, because I have books to talk about as well. Okay.
Let's do this.
Alright, let me show you. This is the series Tia's reading right now. It's called Spirit Animals. And this is book number 4.
Fire and Ice.
Okay, do you want to tell us a little bit about the series?
Well...
Sit down so we can see you. I'm going to scoot over. This is my favorite square. How cute is that?
No, let's finish my book.
Okay.
Anyway, so... I'm going to hold this while I... So, there's spirit animals, like animals, and there's these bonds, they call them bonds, and they have nectar ceremonies, and there's these people that are called green cloaks. They live in green heaven. castle, Green Heaven Castle, and there's and you bond with them when you're like 14 or something. And
so are these actual people that have spirit animals or animals that have spirit animals?
They're actual people.
Okay, so every person has a spirit animal?
Not every person. Some people, when they're old enough, they have a nectar ceremony and they drink the nectar and they hope a spirit animal will appear and then they'll have their bond.
Okay.
So, and the weird part I think so they call it passive form and they turn into tattoos when they want to on that person's arm or something.
The spirit animal does?
Yeah.
Okay.
They can literally turn into tattoos and then they can come out when the person wants them to.
Fun.
It's awesome.
I'm just going to stop you right there. So
That's that.
each of these four people are going through all of the books. Like after you finish the second book, you're still following these same people? Or is it about different people each book?
No, the first, they're in all of them except the Beast. No, wait. Yes, there's a special edition, so they're not in the special edition.
Okay.
But they're in all the other ones. They are in book 1 to book 7. Or 8.
Okay. So this is a series, Spirit Animals, and there isn't one specific author. Each book seems to be a different author, which I find very odd.
I know.
But she's really enjoying them, and she's flying through them. Also, we started to read A Wrinkle in Time. We finished A Wrinkle in Time. That was our kind of book that we were reading together in the evening.
Mom-child book.
Yes. So we finished reading A Wrinkle in Time, and we started the second one, A Wind in the Door, and that is also a series that we're going to try to follow as well. We have the Wrinkle in Time movie that we borrowed from a friend, but we haven't watched it yet. I did find the Wrinkle in Time book to be kind of weird, but I'm really enjoying the second one now that I'm more into the characters and know a little bit more about them. Do you find?
Why do you find it weird?
I don't know. It was just kind of odd, everything that was happening. Mrs. Who and Mrs. Which and Mrs. What.
Like Mrs. Watson turning into this beast and then them having to breathe through flowers to breathe after the atmosphere? Yeah, that was kind of the weird part.
Not really your typical book. But anyway, we're enjoying that one. So let me talk about what I am reading. So I need you to scoot over for a minute, please.
Do it.
Alright, so I did finish a book recently. I belong to NetGalley, where you can request to read a book before it's actually released into the world and give a review on it. So they have some reviews of the book before it's released. I was accepted for a book called Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pierce or Pearson? Pierce? Pierce?
Pierce or Pearson.
A.J. Pierce, yes. I kind of read the synopsis of the book first, and I was wondering, I kind of thought I'd like it. I like to read books about how people live, especially during the wartime. This was one of those such books. So I thought I was going to really like it, and I loved it. When I got to the halfway point of the book, I couldn't put it down until I had it finished. I knew I had to finish it that night. It was that good, and I didn't want it to end. So it's already out in the UK, and it was released in Canada and the US on July 3rd, so it's now out in those places. I don't know about the rest of the world, but I did see a couple of other people. I know Amy from Little Tailoress, she was reading it too in the UK and enjoying it. It's a very Amy style book, like 1920s type feel. So it's about a girl who is working in the war efforts, and she works at a fire station part-time helping with calls during the war, and then she also starts work for a newspaper, and she thinks that she's going to be this big war newspaper article writer, and it turns out that she is writing, she's not even writing, she's typing up column called Dear Mrs. Bird, where people write in and ask for advice. And Mrs. Bird is very set in her ways and very strong-willed, and doesn't answer to all kinds of things that are real problems that real people would deal with. So it's kind of she only answers in a light and airy way, and so she really struggles with just typing out these mundane answers when she's getting all these letters from people who really need help and are really asking, and she kind of gets herself into trouble when she starts answering these letters. So I would suggest it if you like reading books about during the war and how people lived and what it was like, because I really enjoyed it, and I would love to find another book like that. If you have any suggestions of any books during the war, I've read a lot of books during the war, and they're based in Germany during the Nazis, but that was the first one that I have actually read that was based out of London during the war, so it was nice to see the other side of things as well. I did start another book, and it's an audiobook, and it's called And the War is Over? When the War is Over. I'll put it down below. And I'm listening to that when I sew up my blocks. So that's another one, and it's kind of after the war is over. That's what it's called. It's after the war and how people are living, and how soldiers are living after the effects of what they've been through. It's also been a good one as well. Not as good as Dear Mrs. Bird, but I'm still enjoying it. I have a couple of minutes left, and I'm going to wrap this up. I started to read this book. I don't know if I should tell you about it now or wait till later. I'm going to tell you about it right now. We went on a little getaway as a family recently, and we went to St. Andrews by the Sea.
And it was awesome.
And that is home to the Algonquin you may have heard of. I'll insert a picture here. It's been around since Victorian days.
The haunted hotel.
And we went on a little trip to Minister's Island. I will put in some footage here of us going across, but in order to get to Minister's Island, you have to go when the tides are actually out, because you are crossing the seabed when the tides are out to get to the island, and when the tides come back in, that means you can't get across until the tide goes back out again. So you have to work with the tides, and the schedule is there, and people kind of go and work there for a couple of hours, 4 or 5 hours, and then return before the tide comes back in. So it's kind of neat to drive across the ocean bed, and we could see people digging for clams and that while the tide was out right along that bed, and then they will leave and come back again. But Minister's Island is the place that was owned by this gentleman, William C. Van Horn. He is back. So Minister's Island, like I said, was his summer home. He took his family and servants, etc., to this house on Minister's Island, and the house actually grew with time. He kept adding things on, like he added on a nursery for his grandson when he arrived. It was really cool to go inside. There are still some originals there, and all the rooms are set up like they would have been. What are you? Get! He had a working farm there too. He had milking cattle, he had a creamery there, and he had a giant greenhouse, and all that's left of it right now are 2 chimneys on the side and a little bit of the stone wall that would have surrounded it. But it said on the sign that they had such an abundance of food because he loved to entertain, that anything that was left over was shipped back to Montreal where he lived, and it was used all winter long. So in the winter months, after the summer, they would leave, and anything else, food would be shipped back to them. They had cattle and that there. There would be a few people that would stay on the island all year long to look after the animals, etc., but the servants and everything would go back with them. So I think it would be a really cool place to work in that time period. One of the girls that worked there said that they got paid more than most to work on the island, but it would also, it was like a miniature Downton Abbey. Like as soon as you walked into the dining room, I was like, whoa, this is like Downton Abbey. I can't imagine that kind of thing happening right here in New Brunswick, and how the other half lived. I did find out of someone who did work in Ministers Island, and I would love to get to chat to her. She's actually 92, 93, maybe more. I'll have to double check, but I would love to get a little chat with her to find out more about Ministers Island. Now, it wouldn't have been William that she would have worked for at the time. It would have been his family members, but it would still be cool to hear her view on it. So this is what I'm reading, William C. Van Horn, the Railway Titan. Now, he was born in the United States when he